Hey Narwhals, I'm your host Luke Narwhal, and today we'll be reading a weight loss post from Reddit. Give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more weight loss stories. Ever since I've lost weight, I seem to attract hypercritical guys. I'm 30. In my early 20s, I was a little overweight. Not a lot, but I was on the chubby side. My boyfriend at the time was amazing. I gained weight, I lost weight. Either way, he never said anything and always thought I was beautiful. But we had other problems, and got together when I was young and still felt like I had more things I needed to do before I committed like that. We broke up amicably. Over the next few years, I found footing in the field I always wanted to be in that is really competitive. I almost doubled my salary and gained a lot of confidence in my character and intelligence. I had been vegetarian for about 5 to 6 years at that point, but started eating healthier and more vegan. Not strictly, but more often. My weight dropped, and now I feel like my body is banging. I'm 5'9", 140 pounds, and have normalized my diet enough that I don't really fluctuate much anymore. Ever since, the guys I date become more and more critical of my appearance over time. Both of my most recent exes insisted I work out more after a few months, despite me staying the same and them being super into me sexually, like couldn't get enough, even in the last few days. In fact, my most recent ex had put on weight himself, which I never ever commented on, but he would lament to me occasionally about. But he started telling me how many calories was in something I was eating and complained that I didn't run, even though I started going to yoga classes to appease him, which wasn't bad for me anyway, and bike a decent amount. I'd say 20 to 30 minutes a day on average. One time we were talking about kids in a very far off possibility way, and he brought up a friend of mine who was very trim fresh after 2 kids. Being that she's my longtime friend, I know she struggled with EDs, which is why she was able to shed the baby weight so quickly. It's just strange to me that now when I feel I look my best, yet I'm getting this type of feedback more than ever. And while I realize somehow I'm attracting this energy, it does seem strange. With both my last 2 exes, I thought we had bonded over real things like shared interests, humor, and ambitions. Then a few months later, it was, you need to run, your legs need work, there's 300 calories in that candy bar. Do you want me to count calories for you when you drink IPAs? Didn't think so. How do I spot this type of person in advance? Obviously, this stuff didn't come up until about the 3-month mark and got much worse around 6 months, so I didn't know that's how it'd flesh out when I got into it. Stop. You are not attracting this energy. You simply haven't learned yet how to spot it and get rid of it sooner. You will. Take them to the curb on trash day. This, I wouldn't read too much into this or overthink it, as some guys are just bumholes, and sometimes 2 in a row is just a coincidence. I was with a guy once and we were at a restaurant and our food came to the table and mine was a very large portion. As I was nearing finishing my plate, he said, "You're really going to finish that?" with a little eyebrow raise. I didn't say one word to him. Instead, I calmly motioned the server to come back over and I said, "I'll take another one of these, please." I finished that too, while he waited. I found that it's really helpful for me to have a meal date pretty early on. I like savory food and ordering an appetizer with my meal. You notice a lot of the judgmental, no manners, wrong types of guys pretty quickly by having a meal date. Here's some comments I've gotten. "You're going to finish all that? Are you sure you don't want a salad?" Some comments about the fat content in the food. A guy just orders something small and assumes he's going to eat half your meal without asking you. I think this is especially gross and inappropriate when you don't know each other yet, and he thinks it's appropriate to double dip his spoon into your ice cream or some other food that'll get his saliva on it. And this type of guy is always happy to finish your food when you say you don't want any more, after he already double dipped. Congrats for making all that wonderful progress in your career and health. Right on. Now that you're a self-assured, successful smoke show, your presence will bring out people's insecurities if they feel like they're lacking in any of the areas you're acing it in. And the more insecure they are, the more likely it'll be projected onto you as criticism. That, or you're dating narcissists who see you as a trophy and want to keep you well preserved, lol. Which it doesn't really sound like the case here. Either way though, both issues stem from low self-esteem. Narcissism is just the most extreme version of it. Brush it off and get back on the horse. Screw those narbs. Women are born into an existence where everyone and everything around them tells them that their physical appearance is the most valuable quality. It sucks. I'm shocked that these men that you're dating are asking you to work out more. Hopefully there's some catches in the midst of it all. They really are. And what's crazy too is that the same message is programmed into men, and that women's most valuable quality is beauty. One of the riffs he and I got into one time was his Instagram activity. He was following some really trashy fitness models. I kind of was like, is this what you're attracted to? And after we talked about it calmly, he unfollowed them, barely uses his Instagram. A few weeks later, I asked him to take some pictures of me for my LinkedIn because his phone camera was much better. He took a few shots and handed me the phone to look for the best picture. I was swiping back and swiped one too far, and it was screenshots of those accounts that he had unfollowed. I was like, what's this? And he was like, well, you said you didn't want me to follow them. And I was like, not what I meant. He went on this long rant about how it's harmless and not real, just fun to look at. I told him it's probably distorting a sense of what a woman looked like. He, of course, felt like he was much smarter than that. And then all the rest of this happened. Not a psych expert, but in my observations, people like that are critical of themselves, but it's much easier to feel in control by projecting it on others than being honest with yourself and working on your own issues. Easier to create that fantasy than to work on your own reality. It sounds cliche, but people who don't love themselves seem to be more critical of others. They're not at peace and need an outlet for their dissonance. Congrats on the awesome trajectory. It happened to me so often when I was thinner. I was probably the same as you in terms of size and BMI, though I'm shorter. I had guys grab my wrist to ask if I was getting thinner, say that if I gained 10 pounds, they would dump me for being too fat, and make me do push-ups with them because my arms were wimpy, comment on my body and or my weight constantly. I was thin because I had an ED. The fixation on my weight and body caused me to maintain a low body weight for a long while. Finally, I gained around 25 pounds and the comments about my body and size stopped. The only thing I hate is that my chest went up several sizes and I can't wear certain wardrobe items anymore. I should also note that women were hostile to me, and the body comments were more body shaming in nature. I have had the same experience as a guy. I've always been super skinny and started swimming and got some chest and abs. I feel good about myself and date a cute woman who then brings me down by saying that I need to train my arms more to hug her because I'm just bones. Just typing that last sentence out was hard because of how hurtful it was. We can't spot these people in advance. We need boundaries and to recognize the small jabs. They are testing the waters with what they can get away with. It sounds from the comments like you're already doing this. Unfortunately, it's not much more that you can do. They need the opportunity to show you what a bumhole they are. Best of luck. Man, it can be so tough to suss out someone's true character early on because we all tend to be on our best behavior when we're trying to hook someone, just like in job interviews. And those of us people pleasers can say some really interesting stuff when we're trying to save face or present a likable version of ourselves. I think it's so strange how often guys I've dated say things that really stand out to me in the early days, but that they don't even remember having said it later on. Anyway, the best advice I can give is to give yourself lots of time to get to know people before getting serious with them. Easier said than done, but resist the urge to commit to being exclusive in the first few months. And play the field so that you see there are plenty of good candidates out there, or at least that there's no need to settle for subpar ones. I know that it can seem like a barren wasteland in our 30s, but being alone and living your best life is so much better than being with someone who makes you feel like crap. Things like criticizing your weight or how you eat show you someone's true character. Which is why maybe things like this come along after a few months and in stages. This is who they really are. When you get data like that, don't ignore it. Take it for what it is. Don't excuse it or explain it away, and act on it. Friggin' dump those losers. And that brings us to the featured narwhals of the day from our subreddit. Our subreddit is a place to share pictures, ask questions, and get support on your weight loss journey. To join, just open the description below and click the top link. Click Use App, install the Reddit app, create an account, and then click Join once you're at our subreddit. We'd love to have you join us on the subreddit. Once again, the link is below. Gigi Mora says, "Hey narwhals, today I reached 20 pounds down. I'm really proud of myself, so I wanted to share a before and after. Female 21, 5'5", and at my heaviest left I was 232 pounds, and on the right I'm at 212. My first big goal is to reach 199, and so I'm very close." RK Han says, first post, but here are my progress pics. Female 27, 5'8", starting weight 236 pounds, current weight 156 pounds, goal weight 146. Finally hit my original goal weight, 156, and decided to try this dress that used to fit me very poorly when I first bought it. I can't believe how loose it is on me now. I never thought I'd get this far. Mindful Scream says, first one is in January at 265 pounds, second is today at 216. 54 pounds down from when I started my journey at the beginning of the year. I was having trouble seeing any change, but I think this really helped. 5'2", by the way. Progress pics help so much. Thanks for sharing Future Narwhals. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more weight loss stories that help you stay on track. Thanks for watching, Narwhals, and I'll see you in the next one.